We're accountable for our thinking down to the syllable. Our 50 trillion cells are always responding yes to every word we think and say. Our 50 trillion cells are the event horizon, where the infinitely vast and the infinitely small come together to create our reality. So as we program our cells, we program reality. And since separation is an illusion, how I program myself, I am also programming you, or creating a new timeline that is possible based on what I've learned to do for us. Words are frequencies. That means every word you speak or think is calibrating your frequency and ultimately determining your vibes. Because every word you think or speak is also a thought. And a thought is an idea. And an idea has the power to manifest. So we have to ask ourselves, what am I thinking? Because this is who we are. And who we are is what the world becomes. Because I and the world are one. And how you feel is what you are only after you've articulated your feelings to yourself with words. So words program outcomes. Therefore, the words you think are what the world becomes. To create the world you want, first see it and experience it in your mind and in your body. Formulate the idea within, not just with words, but with sensations and emotional states, and then express that with words. By the time we express it with words, we should already know what we're going to say based on the experience we just had inside ourselves. That is how we allow ourselves to hold space for what we feel and reinforce the knowing state with our words, rather than undermining the knowing state with our words. Have you noticed how impeccable with language everyone on The Chosen is? I'm convinced this is a white hat op, simply based on the NLP being used through beautiful, respectful dialogue. Even when they argue or disagree, they're so respectful to each other. This shows us that they have respect for themselves. And this is the white hat starting to predictive program or neurolinguistically program us back to healthy language by example. So when you take back control of your language, you're taking back control of your mind. We take back control of our feelings. We take back control of our reality. And since we're all one, we take back control of the collective reality too. This is what they don't want us to know. And now we know why they don't want us to know this. Because when you rise, we all rise. When you heal yourself, you heal the collective. Because we're all one. Fear itself is one of these low-vibe, almost indetectable forms of self-contradiction and self-betrayal. We know we are of God. We know we are Christ consciousness. We know when we have faith, we're protected. We know fear is not real. So when we fear, we self-contradict our faith in God. We place our faith in fear, not God. Which is to say, we choose to believe our fear will come true, not that God will always protect us. What does fear sound like? It sounds like, I'm so screwed. It sounds like there's no way in hell I'm going to make it on time. It sounds like I better not mess this up. So it can be a little more subtle than you may think. Impatience, grief, regret, anxiety. These are all stepping stones back to white-knuckle fear. They're all a precursor to fear. Eventually, if you free will choose fear over love, you will of your own deciding place yourself beyond God's reach. Because when you fear long enough, your fears begin to manifest, thus affirming your faith in fear. That's how powerful of a creator you are. You will manifest your fears over time, and then your fears will affirm your faith in fear. And this is how they convince us to do it to ourselves. And then you're lost in your false world of fear. Your manifestations will affirm your faith in fear. And this is the false phantom matrix many are living in while in the low vibrations of anger and grief. The good news is, all you need to do is reestablish your faith in God and embody unconditional love towards yourself, the other, and all life, and your life will be transformed. And this is who we are naturally anyway. And God is doing big work now for those who are coming back to Him. So it's a great time to be born again. Even if you're a sworn atheist, if you decide to turn your will and your life over to God tomorrow, you most of all will see miracles of such a powerful nature just to keep you fixed firmly on God, to affirm and congratulate your willingness to change and to have faith. And to everyone doubling down on their faith right now, God will be doing big work to salute your faith and to keep your eyes and your heart on Him too. As you've heard me say in the past, it's time to empower the givers. The rub is that your faith must be real. It must be pure. It cannot just be lip service, and so it must be congruous. You cannot proclaim your unyielding faith in one breath and then profess your paralyzing fear in the next. You must be certain that God will not allow that to happen to you, or that if God does, it's just part of His plan for you and you'll be fine. You must always be in faith, so that when God decides to move through you, your garden beds will be prepared. Your seeds will be sown. When God is quiet in your life, if you're distracted by the noise from the without, you might miss the still, small voice within that brings forth His offerings in your heart. We have got to embody a faithful mindset and lifestyle. We have to become congruous from tip to toe. We have to have faith. And while there's no such thing as complete faith, because faith as a concept is complete, if it helps get the message across, we have to have complete faith. And then God's miracles will reinforce the newly freed with such persistence that their eyes and their hearts will remain on Him. And you will stay in the 1111 vibration all the time. So in order for them or they to teach us poisons are good, we must first be available to be taught. At one point, we all rebelled against our teaching. We all rebelled against indoctrination and institutionalization. And we all did it in our own way. This was our natural response to the beginning of our enslavement. We did not want to be taught. We wanted to learn in a natural way. We wanted to follow the path that God laid out for us, not the path of man, or the path of darkness, or the satanic mindset that's being instilled through a secret covenant among dark forces. I talk to people and they say, no, I don't know what's wrong with me. I wasn't traumatized. Nothing bad happened to me. And I'm thinking to myself, honey, you didn't have a choice. You were born on planet Earth. This was us rebelling against them, trying to separate us from our spirits, from our souls. This was us rebelling against inverted concepts that made no sense to us. The very same satanic mindset we as soldiers in God's army find ourselves up against right now. The low-vibe tactics outlined in this covenant were actually on the brink of overrunning us for a while there. People, it seemed, were being unconsciously converted into Satanists just by going along with the mainstream narrative, just by embodying the televised suggestions and mandates. By doing what we were told, we unconsciously were converting ourselves into people who worship fear, not faith. We're unconsciously being converted as a nation into Satanists. And this is why we're all here now, fighting for good. Recently, while I was researching, I came across a passage from Power versus Force that highlighted this phenomenon taking shape all the way back in 1995. Hawkins wrote, "The trappings of Satanism grew as fashions of a popular youth subculture. Victims become desensitized to distinctions between good and evil, a value inversion that can clinically be examined. Negative stimuli that would make a normal person go weak cause a strong response in Satanists, while those that would make a normal person strong now produce a weak response in Satanists." Phew, that was tough to get through. So you see, we had to be broken first. They had to hurt us over and over before we'd allow ourselves to acquiesce to the lunacy, the inversion, and cognitive dissonance-inspiring rhetoric we see all around us. We fought it for as long as we could. Once broken, the abuse continued over time to keep you available or agreeable to more teaching from a source outside yourself of an inverted nature. They've been desensitizing us to this bullshit for centuries. After you recover, you will stop requiring the counsel of others. You will keep your own counsel. You might seek expertise outside your wheelhouse, but it will be strategic, not by default. You will keep your own counsel together with God, Jesus, and your guides. You won't be available to the inverted bullshit anymore, which means you won't be manifesting inverted bullshit on their behalf. You will know bullshit when you see it, and you will not consent to bullshit mandates and recommendations. And most of all, you will stop co-creating the inverted world that they want to see. You'll stop co-creating your own fear-based reality. And this is what the entire fear-based phantom matrix is trying to prevent. Natural men and women being in conscious contact with their creator in the Christ within and without, having 100% unshakable faith. Period. End of discussion. What they fear most of all is your faith. For it will be your faith that manifests, not your fear. And we will barely remember what evil was, or how it ever got here, or what it was trying to achieve. We will erase this timeline from existence. That's how drastically the world will shift, when we reconnect to our sovereign selves and to our Creator. When you embody the certainty of what you know, that is what the world becomes. Hence the great quote from Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right either way. Evil has programmed what you know for a long time, and therefore, evil has programmed what the world has been for a long time. And what has the world become? Take a look around. Once our faith becomes 100% pure, one might even consider it a radical level of faith. Once we take back our powers, once we trust ourselves, trust God and nature, we will have become a power that has no equal on planet Earth. Because when connected with the divine, our power is beyond measure. Once this happens, everything changes in an instant. When this happens, you will have become spirit. You become elemental. You are the fire. You are the wind. You are the water, and you are the earth. You communicate with the all. You become Neo going back into the Matrix code. And there you have the power to create reality, exactly the way you want to see it. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.